We're back.
Yay!
Hey, ladies. Thank you for joining us again. Welcome to Talk, Listen, Change. This is your show to get your questions answered about life, love, relationships.
I'm here to get my questions answered also.
Chrissy's got some questions for herself.
I'm just lucky because I get to actually be here and get my questions answered firsthand. So I'm excited.
So here we are today. We're going to be talking about compromising versus settling in relationships. I think it can get quite confusing. And a lot of the times, we could be dating someone and questioning whether, this is something to, you hear the saying, pick and choose your battles.
Yes.
But what is it that you pick and choose? What is it that is worth fighting for? And, what are some things that, are worth just compromising?
I think the first thing is, if you're questioning if you're settling, are you probably settling?
Probably settling.
That's just how I feel.
But I think it's a valid concern because I think a lot of us we're in this time, and we've talked about it even in last episode, just we are all modern women. Rules have changed. Relationships have changed. Blueprints of relationships have changed. And so I think it's time to kind of dismantle and, pick apart all of the belief systems that we've pretty much placed on ourselves, and some of it was adopted from relationships that we've known, parents, families, societies, and really starting to get clear about what it is that we value, what are we taking, what blueprints are we creating for ourselves, so that we can get more clear about what it is that we want in relationships and who are going to reflect us in the best ways.
Yeah.
So we can choose partners wisely.
Okay, so I wanted to bring up one thing, which is just like a little gossip. We won't gossip though. We might. Okay, we might gossip a little bit.
But never out of judgment.
No.
Just, Chrissy loves when I use this word, case studies. It's just merely case studies. We don't know, especially if we're talking about well-known people, you're not in their lives. You don't know what's going on, especially even if it's like friends in your lives.
You
like
never
a lot
know,
of us
actually
want to get in our friends' businesses. Like a lot of the questions that we get emailed, my friend is in this relationship, and it's none of your business. Okay, we don't know what's going down. We're not really walking in their shoes. So we're using it when we do gossip or we're using questions. It's more just like case studies and just kind of examples.
Okay. My favorite thing, I come in every day and I have to give Crystal like the rundown, the pop culture rundown.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing in the morning. So whether it's YouTube drama, celebrity, Kardashian, whatever, I'm like, did you hear what's going on?
Yep.
So in recent...
I love it. I just drink my coffee and I'm like listening.
Yeah, you're like, so what's the tea today? Here you go. I was reading articles that Khloe Kardashian and Tristan Thompson were getting back together.
That's crazy.
Do we feel that she would be settling by getting back with him?
That's a question. Okay, so kind of the background, just in case no one knows, but I'm pretty sure everyone knows about Khloe Kardashian. By the way, love her.
I know.
Love her. Okay, so backstory on her and Tristan. So Tristan is her baby daddy, right?
Yep.
And they've been on and off in a relationship. They have a kid together, so it makes it a little difficult. You have to still keep a relationship, and keep the peace. He's still the father of her child. They had some drama in the past 2 years.
Putting it lightly.
Mm-hmm. First, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm over here trying to
I love
recap.
this. It's like a history recap.
He cheated on her the first time.
Yeah.
I think it like when she was having a baby, right? He cheated on her.
I think twice.
Okay.
2 different times.
You tell me. Yeah.
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
There was one girl at a hookah bar.
Okay.
He was on camera.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Then that started coming out in the news when she was going into labor. So then all the sisters are there and he shows up for the delivery and everybody is so uncomfortable.
Which I can feel, because I love how the sisters all ride or died together. Because if I showed up at the hospital knowing my sisters baby daddy, what just
Please.
came out. I think they handled it quite well.
Yes. Oh, so that happened, but they stayed together. Then cue Jordan Woods.
Oh God.
I forgot about that in the picture.
Uh-huh.
Who was Chloe's sister's best friend.
Yeah. That was a big deal.
And then after that, I think they did break up, but they were still co-parenting, which is good.
Yes.
But now I think there's more pictures of them surfacing online. They're spending more time together. And it looks cozy.
And it's outside of them parenting their baby.
I think so, yeah. Like they
Okay.
were together. Oh, maybe not though. That's the thing is it's all speculation because we don't know what people are doing.
We're just making up stuff. And this isn't real or like we're not delivering news. Okay. So this is just what we're getting fed and using it as examples of people's relationships. Okay. So first off, infidelity in relationships. We've done episodes on that and cheating. And I think it's such a gray topic because I think a lot of people think that I would come at it from a black and white perspective, but you don't know relationships. You don't know, what people, the union and I guess like you just don't know what people are saying yes to in their relationships and what they're choosing.
Yeah.
Okay. You also don't know, the battles that people are facing in their relationships and why people make, bad choices. And you can't come from a judging place. So that's something, if you want to talk about that, we have episodes on that. We'll have everything linked below the description.
Yes.
Okay. So fast forward, Jordan Woods, it happened again, betrayal in the relationship. And now they're cozying up. Is she settling? Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay. This is if speculations are true and we don't know that. We don't know. Because people can change. The one thing you don't want to get twisted though, and this is the thing, is when somebody, does show themselves and have been pretty, because it's one thing to have a betrayal in the relationship, but if it's, it's something that's happening regularly, and someone is hurting you and overstepping your standards in the relationship and everything that you value in the relationship. I speak of relationships as a separate entity. It's something that you both contribute to. And if you're rowing the boat and someone's not rowing with you, then that's something that you need to shine a light on. And, when you're rowing the boat and this person's not rowing with you, and you continue doing that, you're not really having a relationship. You're working on a one-sided relationship, and that is settling.
Yeah.
If someone is showing up and changing and, rowing with you and mending, the ties that were broken, then that's something else. And that's something no one else knows about. You don't know the ins and outs of what, they're working on and what they're discussing and what they're creating for their baby and their life. And so that's something we all don't know and we can only speculate. But settling is when you're rowing the boat, but the other person isn't.
I think what's interesting now, I'm thinking about the cheating topic, and you've always said there's cheating when you haven't built this foundation. And that's like an era, I can't think of the word, not era breakable. I don't know what I'm trying to say, what the word would be.
Yeah.
But it's like once you've set this foundation and you have built this life together and say that an indiscretion happens, it's taken on a different level than if you are, say I'm casually dating someone and it's been 3 months.
Yep.
Like these are different ball games as well.
For sure.
But I also think in terms of celebrities, we really don't know. Maybe they have some type of arrangement too. And we don't know. We can all say, oh, I would never put up with that. But maybe she's okay with it.
Right.
And we're here to judge and say, that's not okay. But
you don't know.
No, and we don't know what she's okay with.
You don't know. Just like I wouldn't want anyone in our relationship, me and Andrew's relationship. You just don't know. You don't know what people are working on. You don't know what they've allowed. Some people have open relationships.
Exactly.
And people insert themselves thinking that there's infidelity in relationships when they've already had an agreement, so you don't know people's agreements. So it's always just like kind of the best thing to do is just stay out of people's relationships ironically, we're like over here talking about people's relationships, but know that we're doing it to shine a light on somebody. You know, if you are in the same boat or you have a friend that's in the same boat, we just kind of want to shine a light on it. But settling in relationships is when your values are being put aside and you're becoming a chameleon for other people's desires and wants. But a lot of times we don't even know what we value. You know, we talk a lot about your values for the quality of life that you want and knowing them and why they matter, because, you know, that's how you choose the right partner for you. Because in order for you to have a fulfilling relationship, you have to have pretty much the same core values. They don't have to be exactly the same, but they have to be the most important values need to be aligned.
How does someone figure out what their core values are, though?
Well, you would look at, and we have a full episode on that.
Oh, okay.
It was one of our first episodes for Talk, Listen, Change on how to discover your life values for a fulfilling life. And we'll put that in the description below. And it's really getting you into the practice of like aligning and really dissecting what it is that is really important to you. So finding, you know, your values are kind of, it gets tricky because a lot of us adopt values too. Value systems, you know, obviously your value systems from parents, from society, from church, from wherever it is. It's just belief systems that are kind of placed on you. That's why I think it's our responsibility now, ladies, because we are in this new time where we're starting to do things differently. You know, we're starting to create and build, and we're wanting to change kind of the structure, this old structure of relationships that fit you. No one relationship is the same.
Yeah.
So what Chrissy desires in a relationship may not be what I desire in the relationship, and how she creates a relationship is going to be different from how me and Andrew creates a relationship, and what matters to her is going to be different from what matters to us. There's no rules of relationships besides both people agreeing that it works for them. Like I said, relationships are just a separate entity, and it's two people just agreeing that these are the terms and we're both honoring these terms and agreements, and we're just contributing to this separate entity. It's just like having a baby. I'm using that example because I have one upstairs. And he's his own person, right? He's going to have his own thoughts and ideas and his own personality. And we're over here just raising him. Both of us, we're just kind of contributing to our child. And that's kind of what a relationship is.
Okay, so in dating, I think that one thing I struggle with would be sometimes I feel like I'm too petty.
I like this.
No, it's not good. Okay, I'm going to give a recent example.
Okay.
This is so bad. Okay.
Why?
Because I feel like there are things that are small, but they either bother me so much, but I'm like, this isn't a big deal. But to me, it drives me crazy.
Okay.
First example. If a guy is texting you, but they're texting like they're 5 years old.
Give me an example, because Andrew texted me like 5 years old.
No, not like Andrew, though. Okay. So, for example, like say they're like, oh, I want to make out with you, right? Meow. Instead of now.
Oh, okay.
That would be
A turn off.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like, and I know that they're trying to be cute and it's like supposed to be this fun,
But it's not
sweet
cute
thing.
to you.
No, but I'm like, okay, I'm being petty.
It's not petty.
That's not petty.
No.
Oh,
No, because attraction is huge.
that's true.
And what creates and stimulates attraction within you is different from what it's going to create within someone else.
Oh.
So that might be sexy to someone else, but it's not to you. That's not petty. Because you want attraction in a relationship, you want to be able to make sure that you're communicating in a way that's, like exciting to one another and feels good.
Yeah. But it's also that I'm not trying to be like a big bitch, like a rigid bitch. I'm like, because I can acknowledge what someone's trying to do. I'm like, they're trying to be cute and sweet and playful. And like, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm like, I'm not trying to make out with a 4-year-old.
I know. I don't think that's petty at all. And here's the thing. I think women in general are so fixated on, like, I mean, we're by nature, we're people pleasers, a lot of the times. This is overgeneralizing women, not everyone, okay. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, women, people pleasing it's been in our nature. It's because we're community driven, we take care of people. That's just been in our nature. We're nurturers by nature. That if anything doesn't feel right and doesn't sit right, it's like, oh no, I'm going to hurt this person's feelings, because we've just been so bred to not do that because we are so community driven. And that's the problem now, because I feel like when, we're talking about how to be confident and to really fall into yourself and to ask for what you want, it's not because you're a rigid bitch. It's because you're trying to create a quality of life. Like, you're trying to create a relationship that feels right to you, because the quality of our relationships is the quality of our lives. So if you're with someone you don't respect or you're not attracted to, and you're just afraid of hurting their feelings, well, you're doing more of a disservice to them, but you're also doing a disservice to your energy and the world around you. Mm-hmm. So the best thing you can do is be really, really crystal clear about what it is that you want, and what attracts you to people, because what doesn't sit right with you is going to sit right with someone else.
That's so true.
And so he's going to find someone where his communication style is cute, and fits the needs of someone else. But why fit a square peg in a round hole?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another thing. I already talked to you about this, but nobody else knows. Another thing is, in terms of like vacationing, I want to go on a vacation. I want to sit there, relax. I'm not trying to backpack across Asia. I just want to chill.
Yeah.
I also am happy, like, I don't need to go on vacation with my significant other every time. Like, I'm happy for it. If somebody has totally different interests than me, I'm cool with them doing their own thing, me doing my own thing. But there's a conflict in just like lifestyle, I guess, as well.
Mm-hmm. That's a huge value though, ladies. So take note.
So, but it's weird because I don't think of that like as a value. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't think of it as a core value. I'm like, how do I want to travel?
Side note, we will include a list of values below, because I think a lot of people are, when they hear values, they hear of like the top values, like love,
that's
connection,
what I think of.
Integrity, which are those are things that are part of me. But there are so many personal core values that get neglected and are really, really important. Like beauty is a value, lifestyle is a value. Obviously, health is a value. There's a list of values, and we'll include it down below, that you can take a look at and just kind of look at what it is that that might inspire you to dive deeper, things that you probably didn't really think about before, about yourself. And because this is really important. So we're talking about lifestyle here. So continue your story. Go ahead.
Well, my thing is, like, I'm at the age, not that 30 is even old, because I'm turning 30 in February, but that's not even old.
We're not telling my age, but 34.
Okay. We're not telling you, but it's 34.
I'm just a little bit older.
Like, I want to do what I enjoy. Mm-hmm. And I think when I was younger, I worried so much about being cool, where I would have gone backpacking across Asia.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that I shouldn't compromise as much on things that I enjoy, because like time's limited and I don't need to be as cool.
Right. So lifestyle is huge. Understanding, what it is that you enjoy. And I think in this in the episodes that we're going to be linking below, it'll help you really, really dive in deep on what you value, and even to the point of how you get work done. What do you need? And I think that this is something to really sit with. What's most inspiring about you? Because I think a lot of people now during quarantine and COVID, I think a lot of people think, oh my God, it's a blessing to sit at home and work. But then what they're realizing is, oh gosh, this is hard. This is not me. I need to be stimulated by an environment and by people. And some people are like, I'm flourishing now. It goes into just those micro things. Like, do you feel more inspired to work when you're around people, or do you feel more inspired to work when you have headphones on and music and you're just doing your thing? Lifestyle wise, do you feel just this desire to be adventurous and, go backpacking through Europe and really, and it's diving into the cultures of where you are and all those things? Or do you thrive sitting at a bar in a hotel, drinking some wine or Prosecco and getting work done, which is us. Sorry, I had to just describe.
Oh my God, I just got so excited.
And there's nothing wrong with either or. I think we create like this belief that, not being bougie and not asking for much is cool.
Yes.
Either one is cool as long as it's connected and truthfully tied to you. But if you're doing shit because you think it's cool and you want to appear to be a fucking saint, not sorry about my language, because this is what really bothers me. Ladies, don't do shit that you don't feel good about doing. Because the best thing you can do is give people your proper energy and you feeling good about yourself. So whatever that is, do that, but stop trying to be cool and stop trying to fit into relationships that don't represent you.
Or put up with behavior that's not acceptable either.
Right. So I think, when we dive into lifestyle, like your, value systems and what lifestyle means to you, being really, really clear about what feels right. What, if you were to paint pictures and paint scenes, if you were to sit down and draw like 3 scenes or write about 3 scenes that you envision yourself that you feel the most connected to, what makes you feel comfortable? What's made you feel confident? What are the moments that you felt the most confident? And paint those pictures. Once you paint those pictures, then you can identify words that you used to paint those pictures. And what you'll notice is that those words become values. So if we think about sitting at a bar doing work, that's me and Chrissy's favorite pastime. That now we can't do that.
We used to.
But we used to. If we were to paint that picture, what are some words that you would describe sitting at a bar? What does that feel like?
Which bar is it?
You choose. You paint your own story, and I'm going to help you dissect some values.
Okay, put on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay, working at a bar?
Yeah, sure.
Oh. Well, or say I'm going out to eat with girlfriends or something. I want to feel spoiled, taken care of, a sense of service. Like I like to feel taken care of. Because I also like to take care of people.
There we go.
So it translates both ways. I love just like a nice atmosphere and ambiance.
Talk about that.
What do you mean?
What does ambiance mean to you? How do you know that there's a nice atmosphere and good ambiance?
It could come down to lighting, but it depends on the time of day. So like at daytime, I want something light and bright and airy. I don't want a lot of noise. Nighttime, though, I like it dim. I would love some nice music and good food, good service. For me, like service is everything.
Yeah.
And I love, like I just said, to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And that, like above anything else, makes me the happiest.
What does that make you feel?
Important.
And
special.
There we go. Okay.
I don't know if I did a good job, but I'm like.
Yeah. So there were a lot of key words. So when she talked about, just ambiance and service and light and bright, her energy, which is something that we've talked about in the events that we started to do when we went to Australia, we talked a lot about your feminine core energies. And one of her feminine, because a lot of people just talk about feminine energy and masculine energy without going into all of the different energies within each of those. And we have both feminine and masculine, but even within the feminine energies are so many different expressions of feminine energy. And her expression is the playful, is what I call the playful. And that's light and bright. So she used words that literally represented her core energy. So that's a huge part, and we can discuss that in a future video. But she said light and bright, and service was a huge thing. And service to her is a value. everything she does ties to how she serves even with me, like being a personal manager, she thinks, exceeds expectations and thinks beyond what you're going to need in that moment. Because service is so huge to her. So that's an expectation and a standard when she goes, to venues. When you said music and, when you described just like you want it dark and more, I guess, what's the word? You said music. What was the other thing that you described? At night. So light and bright during the day.
Dark, moody. And like some nice music. I don't like a lot of noise. Like I wouldn't love a crowded, busy bar.
Yeah.
But I like something that's relaxing and chill.
Okay. All right. So here we go. We're going to tie this in.
Okay.
Going back to the feminine energy, that's a lot of the desire. Desire is dark, moody. This is what I want. I'm going to take what I want. So that's a lot of her playful in the day. Like these are two energies that are popping out through you. Why that text message from this guy that you were dating saying, right, meow.
Oh, no.
Is because to someone who is very playful, but yet has a very distinct desire energy about her, that is too childish.
Yes.
So that is it's going to completely, I'm not trying to say anything.
Turn off.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it at turn off.
Turn off.
Yes. So it's really dissecting. So painting pictures help because then you can take words and you can start seeing where your values are starting to come through. But then you can also tie it into why you're attracted to certain people. So let's paint another picture.
Uh-oh.
What other things, like what has been a time where you felt, paint another picture, I guess, like of something that you love to do that makes you feel the best.
No, so in this whole year, like I don't really feel like I've had that much fun, quote unquote fun. Because everything's been shut down and nobody's lives have been the same. Like I'm grateful because I've been working this whole time.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't feel like I've let my hair down at all. So my sister just came to visit and we all went to dinner.
Jacqueline.
And it literally was like the best time I've had in so long. And what's interesting is my sister and I were very similar in certain ways, but there are aspects to her where she's crazy and wild. But I'm not like that, but I value it so much. And like it brings out that side of me more so than if I'm not around it.
Yeah.
And so she has so many qualities that I admire. Anyway, I went on a tangent.
Yeah.
But going to dinner because the service was incredible. We just had it was just so fun. Like it was carefree, not having to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Delicious food. And I don't know why I enjoy it so much. Now I have to think about it.
Going back to her playful energy, one of the values of the playful is openness.
Yeah.
And that's something that, when you start feeling free and in those moments is when people can bring that out of you, this openness, this vulnerability, because the playful is very vulnerable. The essence of the playful, she's very, very vulnerable and free and open. And so, going back to Jacqueline and that dinner, is like that personality, her energy is what, allows freedom of expression. And that's something that's really huge.
Yes.
So openness is a value. Freedom is a value. Vulnerability is a value. So all of these things, regardless if those are the way that you would describe your values, but these are all values just so that if you're watching this, you can start thinking and the wheels can get turning. So painting pictures of the times that you just feel so good and different ones, right? Because going to dinner is going to spark a different feeling than, maybe staying at home and watching your favorite show, and how that's making you feel. Paint a picture of times that just make you feel so good and start seeing if you can draw out some certain values from those. Then once you start creating lists from the values that you're writing down while you're painting pictures and you start highlighting them, then I would go through and say, Chrissy, what makes you feel the most open and free?
Now I was just thinking about it really is openness. Because I think I don't think I'm a very serious person, but in terms of work, like my brain works in like a to-do list. I'm like, this needs to be done. This needs to be done.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I am lighthearted enough, like, or as much as I would like to be.
Yeah.
But it is surrounding myself with people and being in situations where I can be open. But the only time I feel like I can truly be open is if I know I'm safe, secure, and everything's good. And then I can be open.
Okay.
And that drives people crazy. For example, like if I'm going on a vacation, I like to have some type of itinerary and know what's going on. And then I can relax and enjoy myself.
But what I love about you, and we're going to dissect that for a second, because I'm so glad that you're being open enough to share your values. The thing with your itinerary, you're a very organized person, which is a value, by the way.
I can't relax if there's chaos.
I keep throwing these words out because I don't think people think these are values, but these are values. They don't have to be relational values. These are personal values. What I love about you is, you know, when we travel, we're so organized because you organize us, but there's also freedom. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And that's really important because I also value openness and freedom. Freedom is a huge thing. Everybody thinks it's a masculine value, but it is not. It is very much just a value system that's masculine and feminine. And I think that that's, you know, what I love about you is that's something that you create for us. There's that balance. Safety, security, certainty. Those are values. Nobody likes to write those down because we feel like it sounds like a drag and like, oh my God, I need to feel safe. And it's not that you're like needing a hero. It's just that in order for you to feel free, you need to create within yourself safety, security, and certainty. And so when you start really getting clear and stop judging yourself for writing these values down, just like, oh, am I being petty because I want more than this? Or am I, you know, a rigid bitch because I want, you know, I want to be living the high life and the bougie life? No, write it down, because what the thing is our values need to come from us. It's not an expectation of other people, but safety, certainty, and security, those three really are the foundations for us to start. Those are the survival values. But in order for us to level up in consciousness, now we're diving into different lessons. In order for us to level up in different levels of consciousness, those values need to be met in order for us to start, fulfilling our personal core values, because those are the survival values.
I think also growing up, because, well, not that my parents divorced. It's like this story. I don't hold on to that. But they didn't get along, and there was always so much insecurity and uncertainty about what was going on, who was going to be fighting and arguing. So then as an adult, that became like my important, like that was the most important thing to me, was making sure financially I'm secure, emotionally I'm secure, like everything is stable.
Yeah.
And I've created that for myself. So everything else can build on top of that. But that's like the only way that I can feel open and be free is if I know that everything else is good. Then we can go from there. I'm happy with change. I'm happy with anything else. Yep. As long as like my basics are covered, the rest we can see what happens.
Yes. No, I'm so happy that you said that. I think that that's important for a lot of ladies, people in general, men too. I think that having your basic needs, we call them needs, but they're values too, those met, and finding ways to meet them, but relying on other people to meet them, that's when it gets a little iffy, because a lot of people are in fear mode in relationships because we are expecting other people to provide our most basic needs. And when you give someone else that power, and it's not like just giving up the power, it's just that there's no way that somebody's going to be able to make you feel secure, safe, and certain more than you. So it's, when we talk about confidence, it's that trust that you're making, you trust yourself enough for the decisions that you make. And trust in yourself comes from you doing tiny actions and you creating a life that aligns with your values. That's when you start to trust yourself and you feel confident to ask for what it is that you want, and not feeling like, oh, I feel bad because I don't want to backpack through Europe. I'm sorry, I'm 34. I'm not trying to backpack through Europe. That's not something I want to do. I think it's beautiful. I have best friends who love to do that.
Yes.
Great. I will meet you at dinner, and that is not something I'm not sorry about that. But I think that the more that we get clear about our value systems and what it means to feel safe, because now you have to go deeper. I want to feel safe, secure and certain. What does that mean? What does safe look like? What does certainty look like? What does security look like? And then how are you achieving those daily?
So if you're in a relationship, do all of your core values have to match, or can there be times where you have different core values, but they complement each other?
Okay, core values here. There's core values and then there's personal values. Core values within a person, that's kind of who you are.
Okay.
Those don't change. If your core value is family, that's not going to change. That is who you are. So family is always going to be important to you. Or if it's not your immediate family, it's a community, right? That's just going to be how you are. Your core values are like how you move and groove out in the world. Your personal values, those change based off things that you want to achieve and kind of things that you're setting for yourself. So personal values align with your core values, but those change. So your core values, here's where it gets tricky. Your core values don't have to be identical to your partner, but a majority of them have to. Because in order for you to be compatible, and here's where it's like really important, compatibility over chemistry, because chemistry is like, I'm passionate and we feel this energy and this person is making me feel things I've never felt before, which is beautiful. But then long term, you're like, it's like fitting a square peg in a round hole, because you're like, okay, this is kind of conflicting with my values. It was fun for a second, but then I'm like, okay, I don't want to be traveling all the time. I don't want to be on adventures all the time. Like, I'm not trying to, I have a life that I have to live. I have family that are really important to me. That's where it gets tricky. So for compatibility purposes, how you move and groove in life should be also representative of the person that you're with. So if family is really, really important to you, but your partner does not value family, you're probably going to feel like, your partner doesn't care about the quality time that you want to spend with people. They might not have a good relationship or try to connect with your family. And that's going to, bring a divide in the relationships that you've had and want to continue to have. And then you're going to feel like you're choosing one over another. If your partner values adventure and excitement, and you value quality time, or you value, like I said, relationships, you kind of probably move slower than someone who's like always on an adventure. The way that they move and groove out in the world is going to be different from you, and you're going to feel like you're not enough, and that, oh my goodness, like, I don't think this person is showing me love in the way that I want. Maybe I don't mean that much to them, when their way of, dealing with life is completely different. If they don't come back to the core values that you want to represent and instill in your life, there's going to be conflict.
On the flip side of that, do you think that, say that I go out with someone, I don't have like this initial spark, I'm not feeling like that instant attraction.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that can grow?
Oh, absolutely.
Which actually makes me think now, because say that I meet someone, I'm instantly like, he's so hot, I need to be with him. Yeah. And that could fizzle and fade out.
Yeah.
The opposite is, I might have the same core values with another guy, and it might not be like, oh, this is so exciting.
Right.
But then it actually would potentially be a better long-term thing.
100%.
But attraction, you think, can grow?
Attraction can grow, and it does grow. I'm a case study for that.
Case study.
I know you love that word.
That's my new word. Case study.
I am. Me and Andrew, it wasn't like oh my God, like we're going to start. No, it was, who is this guy?
Why is he talking to me?
Why is he, first of all,
stealing
my birthday, and then not remembering who I was the 25 million times that we met after that. And I just felt like there was he was definitely different from all the other guys that I've dated in my life. And it was, the attraction wasn't there immediately for me. But that quickly grew once I saw his heart and his values and what he stands for as a man. And I loved that, and so attraction grew from there. Attraction is important. I'm not saying that like you can't you have to make it grow. No, a lot of times when you first meet someone, it's based off attraction. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that. That's very, very normal. Andrew and I just met under different circumstances where we were forced kind of to see each other. So then our relationship kind of grew before the attraction. You know what I mean? Because we were just put into so many different instances where I was able to see him. But, in normal settings, you're kind of, you start talking to someone out of attraction.
What was the point where you're like, okay, this is someone I'm into?
I remember I had a loss in the family. This is when we became friends. We were friends for a year and a half before we started dating. I had a loss in the family. So I was, I was grieving that. And he took a work trip to London, actually our favorite place. He took a work trip with London, and with all of our guy friends, we had mutual friends. And when he could have been partying and having girls, because all our guy friends had girls, they were at strip clubs, or I don't know what they were doing. He could have been out and about partying, drinking, having girls. He's not in a relationship. We're not in a relationship. I remember I was dating people at the time too. He was in his hotel room calling me and making sure I was okay. Right? Yeah. Like that kind of stuff. And I was just like, what? You're
like, why are you not at the strip club?
Right. Why aren't you having fun? So he made it a priority. He made our relationship a priority, even as a friendship, that he wanted to call and check in and just make sure I was good. And it was more of a priority than him going out and having a good time. And I saw that and I was just like, well, that's really sweet.
Yes.
That he prioritized our relationship as even just friendship. And I was just like, that's a good friend. And then it was almost like that, me opening up, to him, because it was just like I felt like I can trust him a little bit more. And then that just opened up more.
And here we are.
And other things opened up. And
here we are. This just turned into a different podcast.
I mean,
I'm like, call her daddy who? Okay. Do you want to take a question?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, so if any of you guys ever have a question that you want to ask, hit us up at ask@theladiescoach.com. We get some interesting ones, to say the least.
Most of them are interesting.
They're interesting.
Yeah. And they're anonymous. You don't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm. No, we will never say your name. If you put anyone else's names, we can always change them if you want to. Just let us know. Mm-hmm. So, this is a little lengthy, but get ready.
Okay. I'm going to blow my nose. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Okay.
My boyfriend and I have always casually talked about marriage and children.
Okay.
And that it would all happen one day, in quotations for podcast listeners, after we built our house and got settled. However, my boyfriend dropped the bombshell that he does not know if he ever wants to get married. Mm-hmm. He says he loves me and that he does not want to be with anyone else and sees himself being with me forever. But he does not see himself ever getting married. He said he wants me to be happy and doesn't think I will ever be happy just being with him and not being married. I'm not sure what to do now. Can two people be happy together and not married, even though one of them has always wanted marriage? I have the relationship I want forever. And as far as I'm concerned, if he is committed to me and me to him, and we are happy, then everything will be fine. But will I always have the thought of, why doesn't he want to get married, in the back of my mind? Am I being selfish?
Whew, this is such a good question. And there's so many ways to answer this. Short answer, can you be married and happy? Is that her question?
If she
Can
wants
two
to
people be happy together, not married? Short answer, yes, of course. Andrew and I did it for 9 years.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Marriage it means something different to everyone, because to me, marriage is a relationship, first and foremost. Commitment in a relationship has nothing to do with marriage. There's a lot of people who are very married
And not committed.
Nope.
Nope.
So what I would say is we were talking about values and, blueprints and all of these things. I think we are in a stage right now, if you're watching this video, where you're able to create what it is that you want that's not fitting the norm of what everyone around you is doing. So marriage might be something that is important to many people around you. And even family members might say, oh, well, if he's not going to put a ring on it or you guys aren't going to get married, what's the point? You're wasting your life. That is not their relationship. Andrew and I personally didn't think we were going to get married. We didn't want to get married. I think I wanted to just kind of have a lifelong partnership. I think many people have had successful lifelong partnerships. Oprah, Goldie Hawn. And they're doing just fine. They're more committed than most relationships I see. So what I would say is, if marriage is a value to you, really dissect what that is. So to me, marriage is kind of like an umbrella of different value systems and standards. So if marriage to you, so it's like marriage, if you can think of an umbrella, so that's marriage. What does marriage mean to you? It means, what was her words? Commitment.
Committed.
Yes. So for her, it's commitment. It could be partnership. It could be lifestyle, like what we were talking about. Fill in the blank. So marriage is this, and what does marriage do for you? What do you think marriage is going to do for your relationship? And as you can see, there will be different branches, right? Then what I would do is say, what does commitment look like to you? Okay, so if marriage means commitment to you, but somebody is saying, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, I just don't want to get married, which marriage is, at the end of the day, is the commitment. For me, I would always say me and Andrew were married before we actually signed paperwork. So to your partner, it could just be he doesn't want to sign the paperwork, which then you would talk to them and say, what about marriage is it that you don't want? Because if your partner is already showing you commitment and you think marriage is the commitment, well, then there you go. I mean, your value is being held and your partner is showing up, and, there's, you don't have to feel bad about letting go of that, compromising that value. If someone is stringing you along and saying, oh yeah, I'll get married, we'll get
One
married.
day.
It's just not the time, and also not showing up in the relationship in the ways that you value most. That's another thing. Then that's when you would be getting into settling, right? So compromising is like, am I able to compromise what I believe a value to be, but still get way more, right? So maybe I'm compromising marriage, but I'm still getting commitment. I'm still getting partnership. I'm still getting kids out of this. I'm still getting everything that I want. So I'm compromising this one word because of this belief system I have, but I'm getting so much more. That's compromising. Settling is when you're giving up not only the value, but you're giving up, you're not getting anything in return. So you're everything that you want in the relationship, dissecting all the values, the partnership, the commitment, the things that you want in your future, and your partner's not showing up for those. That's settling.
And what's interesting is, so say that she decides marriage is a deal breaker, but this is her dream relationship and she's in a happy relationship.
It's a happy relationship.
Maybe though, then she goes and meets someone that wants to get married and it doesn't compare nearly to the relationship that she had with this guy.
It's easy for somebody to want to get married. It's marriage is an action.
Yes.
It's not just, I want to marry you and then there we go and then we have this perfect relationship. No, you're working on the relationship. Every day you're contributing to that separate entity that I speak of as the relationship. You are both putting in, you're both rowing the boat, and you both are, one, fulfilling your core values and your personal values together. So for a relationship, for instance, you want similar core values, which even if marriage, you want to dissect if marriage is just the term or the value that you're compromising. It could just be a term that you're compromising, because maybe the value systems below it and what you define marriage to be are being met. So you really need to get clear about that. If you define marriage and you're not getting the commitment and you don't feel like a partnership and you don't, whatever it is that you define marriage to be, then that's when you start second guessing the relationship.
So is the key to figure out what does commitment mean to me? And then can my partner fulfill what that commitment is?
If marriage means commitment
then
for
that's
you.
that.
Yep.
On the flip side though,
marriage can be security.
True.
Here's the thing. Don't be afraid to write down the first response of what marriage means. I said it again. I'll say it again. Marriage is an umbrella of different values and needs. So create that umbrella where it's almost like we're vaguely describing all of the things that come into marriage. So marriage is just a term, but marriage means so much. It's just like when somebody's like happiness. Happiness is an accumulation of feelings.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
Happiness is a variety of different feelings, So understanding and defining that term and what marriage means for you is going to be different from what marriage means to me. So we could both sit down here and write what marriage means to us, and it's going to be completely different. So if marriage is security, right? Okay, let's get clear about security. How secure do you feel in the relationship? What does security mean to you? Is it financial? Is it emotional? What do you need to feel financially secure? What do you need to feel emotionally secure? Getting very, very clean, like defining each thing. And then what you'll notice is you are either these things are getting met in the relationship or something isn't. Then you can get more clear about what you talk to your partner about. So here it's, can I be happy without marriage? Absolutely. It sounds like you're in a quality relationship. He is committing to you. He just may have a difference of opinion about the term of the word marriage and probably doesn't want to sign a contract to, and a lot of times for us personally, it's just like, that has nothing to do with your relationship. It kind of taints the relationship. Some people have different feelings about it. Some people are like, no, it doesn't. How does that taint the relationship? So it could just be a difference in terms. So then you can go and say, what about marriage to you is scary? What is it that, without marriage, we can do in order for me to fulfill X, Y, and Z? Can we still have kids if kids are important to her and that's something that she wants to create for her vision in life? Can we still have kids?
Kids for sure would be not a compromise though.
Right. Yeah. If you want kids, that's
and
something
somebody doesn't want kids, that's like zero compromise.
But you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons because a lot of the times like you're in this really great relationship. And again, you have to decide if your vision for life is passed down to you and something you think you should do or is something you want to do. Because a lot of people are like, okay, you're getting that age, you need to have kids. When your partner's like, I think we'll be happy without kids. And you may also be happy without kids, but you're just getting this pressure from old patterns and blueprints of other people and what other people are doing. So that's why getting clear about your values is really, really important before you start, thinking that a relationship isn't working for you.
That's interesting. Okay, sorry, I'm throwing my sister under the bus.
Okay.
No. Well, her and her husband decided that they didn't want children.
Yes.
He got a vasectomy. So now they don't have to worry about it. And she didn't want to be taking birth control for no reason.
Right.
And still to this day, pressure. And she's like, there's literally zero hope for us to have children. Like we physically can't unless he got it reversed. And it's like, but there's still that pressure on her that your clock's ticking, you need to be having children. And she's like, I can't. And that's not the life that they want together. Like they want to enjoy and travel. And maybe if she was with someone else, maybe she would have had kids. But it's like, she's happy with this life that they're creating together.
Yeah.
And making these decisions together.
Yes.
And she's happy with it.
And that's the thing, like, stop putting your pressure on people. And first of all, going back, this is just a side rant. Stop asking people when they're going to have kids. Let's just get over it. It's none of your business. If people want to talk about it, they want to talk about it. If they don't, like, it's not the end all be all for happiness. Now, having said that, I have a baby. Can I imagine my life without him? No, but I also was very, very happy before Rowan, and there are so many different types of relationships, guys, and you can create one that really, really aligns with you and makes you fulfilled and happy, and it doesn't have to align with anybody else. Well, it has to align with your partner because that's who you're with, but it doesn't have to align with anyone else. And I think that that's really, really important, because when you create like this vision for your life through the value systems that you have in place, and you and your partner, have these aligned visions, it has nothing to do with anyone else. And anyone imposing I just hit the mic. That's how fucking heated I am.
She's passionate.
Anyone imposing their beliefs, they don't matter. Okay, it could be family, you can love them, but like it doesn't. You don't have to adopt anything.
Preach.
That's all I got to say.
What else?
So I think here's again, I just want to reiterate about the settling versus compromising. Compromising you have to do in any healthy relationship.
What are some examples?
You could be on the super end of this spectrum and really just, now talk about rigid bitch, and just not compromise at all. This could be like scheduling. Okay. This could be like routines. This could be just, your partner wants to try something and try it with you, and you're just like, nope, don't want to do that, can't do that, don't want to, this is not me. When it has nothing to do with compromising your values, it would never touch your value system, but you just don't want to meet your partner halfway. Because with anything, it's like you have to, and you want to pick and choose your battles. There are things that you don't need to fight about or prove yourself. And a lot of people want to be right all the time. So it's like you don't, as long as it's not compromising your values, your core values as a person, compromising is huge in healthy relationships. Settling is when you are literally chopping off the most important values that are, your core values to please someone. That's when you're settling, or you're in fear mode.
That's a big one.
You're in fear mode because you really, really, there's nobody I feel more attracted to and connected to than this person. So I'm just going to, and I don't think I'm going to find anything better. So then you compromise your values. Those are the two differences. So going back to this question, I just want to kind of like wrap it up in a bow. It seems like if you're watching, it seems like you have a beautiful relationship. And yeah, this might be a big deal for you. This might be a deal breaker for you. I don't foresee it. And that's just my personal, again, I'm not in the relationship with you, but I think it would be really important for you to get clear about what marriage means to you. What are the values under marriage for you that are not being met and or are being met? And is that okay? Will that be enough for you?
I also, because I was married and realized like now that I'm divorced, I got divorced like 3 years ago.
I can't believe that.
That's crazy. But having been married, I realized that us having that contract together literally didn't make him any more committed to me.
Right.
Or our partnership.
Right.
So I realized, I think that I also have never really had a big emphasis on getting married. It was never that important to me. I didn't have this dream of a wedding and all of these things.
But you can still have a wedding without
that's
signing
my dream.
a contract.
I just want a ring and a dress. A ring and a dress, and I'm good.
I think, and that, see, can you say that? Oh yeah, go ahead.
My point is, having been married and looking back, I'm like, it really didn't change anything about our relationship, and it didn't make him any more committed to me.
Right.
And that's the truth.
So, I mean, like, again, if you think marriage means commitment, you're dead wrong, because relationships are committed all the time and you just have to redefine. It's just a term that you have to kind of redefine.
The dress and ring?
Going back to that, I think, yeah, these are things that are just, you feel, these are things that you want in your vision. And again, that's a compromise thing. That's not compromising a value. If you're like, I don't care about getting married or signing a paper or a contract. I would love,
like celebrate your love and like celebrate your love.
Yeah, that's not compromise. And of course, that's a compromise. That's okay, whatever you want, kind of thing. Andrew and I have always we always said, for our 10 years of being together, we want to do a ceremony with our close friends and family. And that's something we always wanted to do. We never wanted to actually legally get married, but we always called each other wife and husband because we've been together for a long time. We have a house together. We're committed in so many other ways that it wasn't like marriage meant a document that we're signing. But a ceremony was something that was beautiful to us and we wanted to do. And we're working on and we're going to have.
I'm so excited.
And then obviously we ended up getting married, not because, oh my God, this is now we're committing ourselves to our life, combining our lives together and we're committed. No, that's already happened. We had a kid, we have a house. It was more so business. And that's not the cute thing to say, but that's what it is. We exchange vows all the time. I think you can do that every day. Every day you're in a relationship, you're choosing to be with someone. That's a vow in itself.
Yeah.
And I think that is where the commitment, is. And I think that keeping your relation alive is the ultimate commitment. Staying with someone through, tough stages and choosing to love them every single day, that's a commitment. You don't need a marriage license to tell you you're committed. That's the ultimate act of love. So choosing someone every day. And yeah, I think from what I read, I don't know. I
think she sounds like a good guy.
I think she's got a good
If he's
thing.
building me a house, I'm in. Like, if you're building me a house,
We're good.
I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's still other things that you have to do. You have to be
No, of course.
loving and, give attention and, all those things.
We don't ask for a lot.
Just everything.
Literally. Okay, so what would you say?
Okay.
Tips on settling.
And I have my notes on this. Sorry. So my ladies who are listening, you can write this down. If you're watching, I'm going to read this to you. But these are my 7 signs that you're settling. Okay. Number 1, you don't know what you value and you become a chameleon of someone else's desires and needs at the sacrifice of your own happiness. And this is something that we talk about, really understanding what it is that you value and not compromising your values. Because when you don't compromise your values, then you're ultimately, that's what's guiding your life, right? That's what's guiding who you're coming into contact with, who you're aligning with it's all the relationships in your life, but specifically significant others.
And that's like what I was talking about earlier about being the cool girl.
Yeah.
And you pretend that you're something else in the beginning. So your partner thinks that they're making you happy because you've pretended that X, Y, and Z is okay with you when really it wasn't okay. And then say like a year down the road, then you're resenting them because you feel like they don't understand you.
Yes.
But it's because you didn't tell them up front.
Yes. Oh, and also you don't know.
No.
When I ask ladies, the first thing, is, I help women with their relationships, but how you relate out in the world is all a manifestation of your core values. And who you connect with are all a manifestation of your core values. Relationships are energetic connections, right? But so many times when I ask somebody, what do you value most? Like, what are your values? What's most important to you? I don't know. You do know because it's manifesting in your life, but because you don't pay attention to it, you're just kind of becoming a chameleon and you're just seeing, oh, well, that works for this person. Let me try it that way. No, the more you really get clear about your value systems, the more intentional you are out in the world. Okay. So number 2, the second sign that you're definitely settling in a relationship is you're in a relationship with an illusion of your partner's potential rather than who they are showing up as currently. I'm going to say that again. You're in a relationship with an illusion of your partner's potential rather than who they are showing up as currently.
Would that be ignoring red flags that you're seeing?
Ignoring red flags and creating this illusion of who someone is when they're telling you what they're not. Okay? So getting in a relationship with someone who's immediately said they never want to have kids. Okay? But you think, okay, they might change their mind. And you create this potential mate for yourself when he's not really there or she's not really there. So being very, very clear that you're not creating false illusions about a person. And I think we do that not just in intimate relationships, but also in friendships too. Because you really want someone, you fall in love with their potential and you just know that they can, be this phenomenal person. I do this a lot with my family too. Because one thing I can see is someone's potential. And that's what is a gift of mine, because I can help you get there, but no one can help you besides the person who's working towards it. But I do that too, and it becomes pressure on people. I've done that with my family. I've done that with my mom. I've done that with, everyone. And I had to really cut myself back, because it becomes pressure. You start becoming, my family just started getting annoyed with me, because I'm just you should be doing this. And it's you're almost shaming them into becoming what you want them to be, because you know that they could be better. But you don't know anyone's potential like they do. You may have a vision for it, but just stay out of people's potential. But especially in significant, in intimate relationships, stop creating illusions of a person.
If people tell you who they are, what they are, believe it.
Maya Angelou said it best.
Yeah.
When someone shows themselves to you, believe it. Sidetrack though, or side note to that, people can change, right? So, me and Andrew, we weren't sure if we wanted to have kids, but we didn't go in a relationship where one person wanted to have kids and one person didn't. We kind of came to the decision on our own. So we can always change.
How do you differentiate though? How do I know, okay, there's possibility, or is it an openness?
Yes, there's an openness, but I would say if it's a huge deal breaker, then you probably don't want to get in a relationship with that. But if somebody is saying, I don't want to have kids, but all the other values are intact, this relationship is still aligning with the other core values that you have, to where it's not so important for you that you could even envision your life not having kids, then that's something else. And then if that person changes their mind in time, but you never want to have an energetic pressure on someone when you're in a relationship, because that expectation is energy. When somebody expects you to do something, they don't have to say it, but they have that energy of there's just oh my God, I feel like I need to do X, Y, and Z for this person. It's a needy energy.
Yes.
And that's just not good for any relationship. Number 3, you don't feel like an equal in the relationship, or you don't look at your partner like an equal. For me, it is really, really important that everything Andrew and I do, we come at it as a unit together. There are so many people who are married that don't know anything about each other. Wives don't know their husband's business, because there's also this power hierarchy in the relationship, because one person makes the money and the other person doesn't. So the other person doesn't feel like they need to be in the business of the person who's making money. There's this power struggle in relationships. And when there's a power dynamic in the relationship, that is toxic. That is not healthy. But there's so many times you think you're married and oh my goodness, this is the ultimate sign of commitment, but you have no clue what's going on and how your relationship is structured financially, emotionally, all those things. And I think it's really important for me and Andrew that we come at everything as a unit. And I know everything because it's a partnership. If he needs something, I want to be there for him, and I want to be able to be that rock for him. If I need something, he needs to be that rock for me, So that's really important. And, going back to that equality, a lot of people look down at their significant others. So then it's your significant other isn't going to want to have a higher vibration when you're looking down. It's this is all you do. You're sitting on the couch, you're doing this, you're just shit talking your partner. And yes, there might be some value conflicts, but when you start shit talking your partner and making them feel less than, it's not real motivation for them to change. Mm-hmm. Well, my face. Okay, there it is. 4, you stay with someone because you're afraid there's nothing better out there. I don't think we need to discuss that.
I feel like that's literally the definition of settling.
Settling. 5, you believe relationships are meant to be hard, so you do more working on the relationship than having a relationship.
People think that.
There are going to be stages in relationships where it's going to take work, okay? But when you believe that relationships are work, that's when you're going to stay in the struggling, and that's where the settling comes from, because you're just like, okay, well, we have a hard relationship. It's a toxic relationship. So it's all relationships take work. But the more you think a relationship takes work, that is settling, my friend, because you're settling for greatness versus something that you're trying to force to be good.
Is it also, you feel like, okay, I've been through all these hardships with this person, therefore I should stick it out because we've been through all of this together?
Yeah.
That it's like, so say I'm with someone for 3 years and we've gone through X, Y, and Z, and none of it has actually been very good, but I'm like, but I've put in so much work and energy, so I should stick around.
Yeah. Here's the thing. There is nothing worth my sanity.
No.
Okay? You can love someone, but not be good for someone. You know what I mean? Because the compatibility factor does matter. Long-term relationships come from compatibility. You don't want too much compatibility because then you're just like
friends,
meh,
roommates.
Meh. But compatibility is important. And when you're working too hard on a relationship, there's a lack of compatibility. And that's just not gonna, when you're thinking of in terms of years and years with somebody, with life getting in the way and kids and health and all of those things, and you're still working on your relationship when life is hard as it is, there's just no way that's going to work. It's going to be really, really hard. And again, the quality of your relationships reflects the quality of your life and how you go out in the world and how you create your vision. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
6, they are the one you tend to vent about most. Oh my gosh. You don't trust them to discuss your wants and needs in a relationship. When you go out with your friends, if your significant other is all you talk about in a negative way, you might be settling. I don't know how to and I see this all the time.
Really?
I see it all the time. Well, even in the questions that we get submitted.
Oh, you're clearly not happy then.
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah. When you're constant, and I think a lot of friends feel this way. Oh, my friend just keeps talking about all the problems in the relationship. And then you wonder why your friends are in your business because you've allowed them in your relationship.
And you wonder why your friends don't like your boyfriend.
Right.
Because all you've done is say
when
negative
you break
things
up
about
and then
them.
go back and then break up and your friends are like, where are we? I thought you said he or she did X, Y, and Z. What am I supposed to feel about this?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to feel? And last, if you think you're settling,
you're settling.
You're settling. That's it.
That is so true though. If you're questioning something or your intuition's saying this isn't right, it's probably not right.
There's a difference between I think the question that we had. Hers is it's a beautiful question, and I don't think she feels she's settling. No. I think she is in conflict over a blueprint and a term. Mm-hmm. That's a little different, because when you are trying to kind of dismantle prior blueprints, like family blueprints, you're going to be questioning a lot of things. You're going to be questioning, is this even important? Do I need this to be happy? And I think that is a healthy sign that you're ready to create something that's different from the norm, but also a sign that marriage is obviously important to her family because that's instilled in her. And that's the reason why she's asking. That's different because you're literally just taking a look at what's serving you and what's not serving you. And is this worth keeping or is this not worth keeping? So that's why I think these questions are amazing, because we can dive in and try to see how we can, start getting clear about, value systems and rules and blueprints that we've placed on ourselves. What else?
I think that's pretty much it.
Wow.
I feel like it went from settling to core values.
Core values. It's so important because when you settle, it's a lack of connection to your core values, because that's when you're ultimately feeling like, not who you are, and then a lot of people are in relationships where they don't feel alive, because they can't be who they are because they don't know what they value and they feel like it's going to upset the other person. But I think that when you know that, that's how you know who you are.
That just made me think of something.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was married, and it's interesting that you're saying that I'm like playful, because that was like one aspect to my personality or who I was that he didn't like, because he thought I could be embarrassing or I would say inappropriate things, and that was not... I don't know. I don't feel like I'm that inappropriate, but to him it was like embarrassing.
Yeah.
If I wanted to be boisterous.
Yeah.
So then I realized, like, after we broke up, I feel like my personality became so different, and I wasn't trying to be something that I wasn't, or like diminishing who I wanted to be.
Right.
And I feel like my personality just like blossomed after that, because I didn't have someone telling me you're too much all the time or this, and like everything that I am in my core was being shunned.
Yeah. You're being shamed for who you are. And that is when you know you're not in the right relationship. Because as soon as you left that relationship, and it wasn't like you were turning into something you weren't.
No.
You were turning into all that you were. You were falling into yourself. And I think that that's the key term. Like, falling into yourself means that you're super connected to your value system and the things that are important to you and who you are and liking who you are. If you're going out with friends and you like who you are more than you like who you are with your partner, you might be settling. Or it might be an opportunity to open something up in that relationship. So if you know you're with a good partner, but you're just feeling like, life is you're getting into the mundane and like the monotony and like the too compatible, then it's an opportunity to open something up. But I feel like when you left that relationship, you were just like,
yes. No, and then also
freedom.
What I learned too is anybody that I'm going to be with in the future will accept that and appreciate that aspect of my personality and who I am.
Or send you pictures of a time that you were shit-faced next to a toilet.
Oops.
Andrew, thank you very much.
Oh, that's the best.
Yes. We've been together way too long. He's got like a library.
He's got dirty laundry on you forever.
Oh my goodness. No, these were all great questions. And if there's anything that comes to mind after, listening to this and watching this, please comment below. Let us know if you have any more questions or even things that you've realized in your relationships, something that you think will help ladies who feel like they might be settling in relationships. Let us know. Everything that we've talked about as far as resources, we'll link below. I think the core values in relationships versus personal values.
Yes.
Those episodes are really, really important. I have an activity in those episodes for you to kind of dive in deeper. Everything will be linked below. And as we close up shop,
I was going to
Chrissy?
do a little housekeeping.
Okay.
If you're watching on video, please subscribe, comment, like or dislike if you didn't like it. Engagement's nice, but we prefer if you like it.
Yeah.
Subscribe on iTunes. We would love if you guys could leave us a review on iTunes. That would be amazing. And I think that's it. Check out theladiescoach.com for more resources.
Theladiescoach.com.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes. Thank you,
you.
ladies. Mwah.